Last year, November, our family went through something that was not expected. We suffered a second trimester miscarriage. I was 18 weeks to be exact. And we were pregnant with a baby boy. We had 3 girls and we were having a baby boy. We were so excited, to finally be having a boy. It was our 4th child, finally having a boy. Just over the moon, ecstatic. A lot of people have asked me questions about it. They asked me what was the signs. Did you have any idea? And they've also reached out and said they were sorry. Some women were very supportive. Some women that I've talked to went through the same process. They were around my same age, and they were able to give me some encouragement, some uplifting words, because during that time, I was in a really, really dark place. I was so angry with God during that time. I didn't understand why. My grandma always taught us, you never question God. You never ask why, because everything happens for a reason. But during that time, I was so angry. I didn't understand, why me? Like, I'm finally getting, what I wanted, for so long. Because my husband, he expressed the fact that he didn't care if the baby was a boy or a girl. He didn't care. He just wanted a healthy baby. But me, I was like, I want a boy. After 3 girls, like, I want a boy. So I just felt like after, finally blessing us with that, I didn't understand why did God give it to us and then take it away. I did not understand that. It took me a really long time, intense hours of therapy, a lot of support from family, friends. It took a lot to get me out of that hole that I was in. If I can go back and I can remember everything during that time, as you all know, some of you do know, some of you don't know, I am a registered nurse. During that time, I was working in a hospital on the med-surg tele floor. So I am dealing with a lot of stress in that aspect. During that process, I got to really learn. That was my first time dealing with women that pretend to be supportive, or, I don't know. I don't want to say encouraging, but women that pretend to be supportive, and they make so many negative comments behind your back, and it all comes back to you. Like, it was just mind-blowing to me that a group of women would take my pregnancy. I'm married. I've been married for 7 years now. I've been with my husband now, for 11 plus years. But a group of women would take my pregnancy and gossip about it because, it was my 4th child. Like, I really didn't understand it. I'm from a family of 4. My mom had 4 of us, So it's like, it's not shocking to me. And I feel like your business is your business. When you're married, you do what you want to do. In the Bible, it says be fruitful and multiply. If God blesses you with that, it shouldn't be nobody that's walking this earth that should judge you and have their negative comments or any type of comment about the number of children that you have. And during that process, I had to learn that not everybody is happy for you. People are going to make their negative comments. They're going to make comments, such as, the number of children you have, they're going to try to count your eggs in your basket. And I've learned that. I learned that, and my therapist is teaching me ways to deal with that and how to get past that. During that time, me and my husband, we wasn't doing good because I had so much static around me, so mentally I wasn't there. Like, I was just all over the place. The day before I went to my appointment, I was on the phone with my cousin I'm really close with, and we were talking about the baby and X, Y, and Z. And I told her, I was like, I have an appointment I'm going to. I'm just going to get blood work real quick, and I'm out, in and out. I call you when I leave out, 10 minutes, if that. But the day before, I had a conversation with my husband, and I feel like God put things on my heart. God shows me signs. It's weird. I'll see things in my dreams. I'll just like think of something out of the blue. And in this situation, I told my husband the day before, we were having a conversation, and I told him that, something didn't feel right. Like, I just felt like something was coming, but I couldn't make it out. God put it on my heart that kind of like to prepare myself that something was coming. I didn't know what it was. And he's like, you know, everything's going good. Why would you think something negative is going to happen? And I said, I can't explain it, but this is what God is revealing to me. So I go to my appointment and we do my blood work. At that time, my OB was like, oh, let's just, you know, let me just do your wellness check now. Like, let's do your check now, your weekly. He was like, oh, you know, I'm not supposed to see you until, you know, in 2 weeks, but I'll just do you now while you're here. Okay, no big deal. I'm happy, go jolly, whatever. Let's do it. His appointments are typically quick, whatever. We go in the room and we look for a baby's heartbeat. And it took him about 20 minutes with the Doppler. And I started panicking. Well, at first I didn't panic because this had happened before where we were looking for the baby heartbeat and like the baby was like in hiding and then we find it. So when he took a while, you know, it was him and a student. It took a while for them to find it. I didn't really freak out at first. And then when I saw the look of doom on his face, I changed a little bit and I started asking him questions. Is everything okay? And he's like, let's go do an ultrasound really quick. You know, sometimes this happens. Baby's hiding. Baby could be behind the placenta, whatever, however. Like, let's just go do an ultrasound. At this moment, I'm at my appointment by myself because, like I said, I told my husband he didn't have to leave work. It's a quick appointment. It's 10 minutes. Like, you don't have to leave work. We do the ultrasound. And I look at the screen and I'm looking for baby's heartbeat and I don't see it. And the ultrasound tech just grabbed my hand. And my doctor asked me, where's your husband? And I snatched my hand back from him and I said, he's at work. Why? What happened? Like, what's going on? What's the problem? Man, I've had 3 previous pregnancies. No complications, no issues. I am thinking that this is my 4th baby. This is a breeze. I've done this. I've been here before. It is nothing to me. I'm a chimp at this point. And he asked me to call my husband because he's sorry to tell me the baby is no longer with us. I lost it in a doctor's office. My mind just went blank because I couldn't believe what he was telling me. I couldn't believe what I was seeing on that screen. I just felt like this don't feel real. He explained to me the process of, you know, a 2nd trimester miscarriage. Either I can do a DNC, I can go in the OR, or I can choose to basically induce my labor and deliver the baby. And we will get some time to spend with the baby. At that moment, I couldn't make up my mind. I couldn't make a decision. I just needed to like get to my husband at that moment. Like, I couldn't believe it. It was like a ton of bricks was on my chest. And I left there and I called my mom. I told my mom what was what. My mom, hysterical, couldn't believe it either. Like, she's just like, what? Asked me where I was. You know, did I leave the hospital yet? Because she knows my doctor. And she's like, I'm coming to you. I don't want you to drive. I tell my mom, I'm gonna drive. I'm gonna get through it. I'm gonna drive. I'm gonna come to that house. I'm coming to your house. My husband, I call my husband, tell my husband, he can't believe it. He's like, he's lost for words, like, because he really can't believe it. And he's like, I'm on my way to you. Where are you? You know, I have like my family that's trying to make it to me. They want me to stop where I am so they could come to me. Like, don't drive anymore. And I knew if I would have sat somewhere, I would have, me by myself at that time wasn't a good idea. So I drove to my mom's house that day and I talked with my family. And my husband meets me there and at my mom's house, and we all talk and we all try to just, you know, make sense of what's going on. Like the news that we have heard, we try to make sense of it. So we decide that we have to tell the kids when we go home that night. We tell the kids and whatnot. My kids are heartbroken. You know, they can't believe it. They don't understand. You know, being at the hospital and checking in and going through that process and like knowing that I'm there for a fetal demise. A fetal demise is when the baby is no longer living. Knowing that I'm there for that reason and not to deliver, you know, a healthy baby. It was tough. It was tough. It was tough. My last daughter, I had her naturally. So I didn't get an epidural, no pain medication, no anything for her. So with this baby, my doctor told me, I'm offering you an epidural with this baby. You don't have to, go through the pain and whatnot. You don't have to dilate fully because, he's not fully developed. He's only 18 weeks, 18-week fetus. So I decided that I was going to try to go natural again, because I'm I know I'm a strong girl, so I'm gonna try to go natural again. We start the medication. At this point, it's just me, my husband, and my sister. My sister, I'm so thankful for her. My sister has been there. She was me and her like this. We're 10 years apart, but we're tight. And my sister was like, I'm not gonna allow you to go through something like this by yourself, with your husband, by yourself, meaning nobody else, just me and him. And doing that whole process, it was so painful. It hurt so bad. I would have never imagined it would have been that painful. The medication that they gave me to induce the labor made it hurt 10 times worse. It was just a mess. But my sister was there, to make me laugh. My husband was there soothing me. He advocated me in moments where I couldn't advocate for myself. When I was out of it, dizzy, when I finally asked for pain medication, I was just out of it. And they had checked me so many times. My husband was there to advocate for me, to let them know, y'all ain't touching my wife no more. Nah, that's it. I end up delivering the baby. And right before the baby came out, my water broke. And I screamed out. And I didn't scream because of pain. I screamed out because I knew it was that time. I knew that he was coming. I knew I had to face my reality. I knew that I was going to see him. And I knew he was going to be fully developed. I knew that. When the baby came out, my sister was screaming for my nurse to come in. But the baby came out and, he was on the bed. And my husband picked him up and gave him over to the nurse. And the nurse asked me, do I want to hold him? And I said, yes, I want to hold him. The nurses at that hospital were phenomenal. When I say phenomenal, they hugged me. They cried with me. They were so supportive. So supportive. They dressed the baby up. They took pictures of him. I held him. They had a blanket for him. It was just beautiful. My sister held him. We all sat there. At this time, my mom made it in. Right before the baby came out, my mom made it in. So it was just us four there. And it was a very heartbreaking moment, but it was very emotional. It was very loving. I'm so thankful that I had them there with me. Going through that process is very hard. After going through that, I realized that it's more common than we know. We think that we are exempt from certain things, or we think because, I've never been through that before, it won't happen. I would have never imagined going through that. I would have never imagined it would have been me, ever in a million years. It came out of nowhere. The healing process after that, going over to mother baby and without a baby, that really tore me apart. I'm in a wheelchair and you have mothers holding their babies, and I'm in a wheelchair with a box in my lap. That was hard. That was very hard for me. Very hard for me. So during that time, I was in a very dark place. And at moments, I had to pick myself up, and I still had to be a mom to my other, 3 kids that are here, my daughters. I had to be a mom to them. So it's I was able to heal, but I couldn't show too much weakness in front of my girls, because then they would worry. Then they would feel Mommy, are you okay? Are you okay? So I had to be a big girl with my girls. During this time, me and my husband were able to communicate in a better sense. He really got to see it firsthand. He really understood what a woman's body go through after going through something as traumatic as that. What my mental went through. My therapist has been there with me. I've been with her. I've been seeing my therapist now, I think, for oh my gosh, I'm gonna say like 8 years, 7, 8 years I've been with my therapist. I love her. She has helped me continue to heal and feel better and just learn how to channel my emotions in a positive light. Going through that process brought me more sense of awareness. Like, I would never take life for granted again. I would never look at things as such as like, oh, this is my 5th time doing this, like, or 6th time, whatever it is in life, whether it is that you're driving on a road trip or you're flying somewhere. Like, don't look at things in life like, oh, I've done this so many times and it's not a big deal. Never look at things like that. Like, that right there was a slap in the face for me, because I just looked at it as, oh, my 4th pregnancy, my 4th baby, no big deal, no big deal. The only difference is, oh my God, it's a boy this time. I'm so excited. But I wasn't really here thinking that, you know, things in life can change like this. You know, like, through that process, I've learned that things can change like this. I'm so thankful for the circle that I have. I'm thankful for my husband. You know, I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for my best friend. Like, I'm just thankful for going through that dark place and having a circle of love around me to bring me outside of that, because I was so down to the point where I wanted to tie my tubes. I remember crying on that bed, you know, in the process of laboring. And I remember, you know, saying, like, I'm tying my tubes. I don't want any more kids. I'm not doing this again. I can't go through this again. And my mom and my husband was like, you're not tying your tubes. No, we not doing that. Like, just because this happened this time don't mean that it's gonna, you know, in the future, if y'all decide to have more kids, it's gonna happen again. But I was just so, like, mentally just out of it. Like, I was, like, out of it, gone. But I'm making this video just to talk about it, just to make it aware, just to bring awareness, because a lot of women feel like they don't have somebody they can talk to about it, or who hasn't been through it. I can say that I have been through it. I can say that it is hard. I can say that this too shall pass. I can say that God is real. I can say that when you think you're at your lowest, God is there to pick you up. I stand on that 1000%. Always remember that you're a human. Always remember, don't blame yourself for things that you come across in life. Women, we are strong as hell. We go through some things that I know these men could not. I know that for a fact. They wouldn't be able to handle the pressures that we deal with in everyday life. I just want you to know that God is amazing. If it's any women that are following that have any questions, that want to reach out, you know, share their experience, like, feel free. I'm just telling you my story, my experience, what we went through, our loss in November of last year.